So if you're going to use Zoom to teach your classroom during this coronavirus thing, there's a few settings you're going to want to make sure that are in place so that you can have minimal disruptions while you're teaching. The first thing that you want to probably know how to do is how to turn off this video function up here where you can see all of your students' faces. Now, it's nice to see them in some cases, but there might be a case where you need to turn off someone else's screen because it could be disruptive in one way or another to the other students. So how you do that is pretty simple. You just come up here and you click those three dots and you go to stop video, and that turns their video off. And this screen represents someone else's computer, another computer I have set up at my house. So I'll just go ahead and stop that video. My wife agreed to help me from home, so I'm going to stop both of the laptops that we have at home, so you can't see those screens. And these would represent students, so this could be one student and this one could be another, and we just turned off their screens so no one can see what they're doing throughout the course of the lesson. The other thing you want to know how to do is how to mute the other participants. You could just come up here and click mute or unmute. The only problem with that is if you just click mute here, then they can unmute themselves, which kind of defeats the purpose. So if you want to permanently mute them, you go to manage participants. You go to participants and then you come down here to more and you click, you see this check that says allow participants to unmute themselves. You want to uncheck that so that they don't have the ability to unmute themselves. And then you can come down here and click mute all and then click continue. So now no one in the conversation can say anything unless you go in there and unmute yourself. And even if this is closed, this tab on the side, you can just come up here and click unmute and they can say something, and then you can click mute when they're done and they're now unable to unmute themselves. The next thing you want to know how to do is how to keep students from annotating or making notes. Something a student could do is come to this drop-down menu up here, and they could click annotate, and then they could draw all over the screen. They could draw a mustache on you, they could write across the screen whatever words they wanted to. So in order to keep them from doing that while you're sharing your desktop screen, you would come up here to this same drop-down menu and go to more, and then just click disable attendee annotation. You can click that off. Let me stop sharing this screen. Another thing that students can do is they can chat with each other during your lesson. The default setting is to allow them to chat with anybody in the program or anybody in the group, as well as the person who started the meeting. So if you go to chat and come over here to these three dots, you can change the settings. I've changed it to host only so that the students can only chat with me. They can't chat with everyone in the group. If it were set to everything, if the setting was, if they were given the ability to chat with everyone publicly and privately, then all your students could just talk about whatever they wanted to while you were teaching. So I set it to host only. So if they have a message about how the audio is working, or if you want to take roll, they can just send you a message right there and it only comes to you. Another thing you want to be careful of is the fact that if you are not sharing your screen, the default setting, at least on my computer, allows students to share their screen. So a student could come down and click this same button and share their screen and show the whole class whatever they want to show them on their computer. So in order to avoid that, you'd come down here and you would click advanced sharing options, and under where it says who can share, you would just click only host, and then that makes it so only you can show your screen and no one else can. Anyway, I think that's all of the problems you might run into with a classroom on Zoom. So I think after you've played with all those settings, you should be safe to be able to teach and hopefully still have participation if you need it, but not have too many interruptions with 20 or 30 kids on a group meeting.